All right. That's what we like to hear. Well, thank you all for joining us this Wednesday at the Wisconsin Science Festival on our Wednesday Expo. We have a special treat for you today. So my name is Andrew Hannes. I'm the director of the Illuminating Discovery Hub, where we do all things art and science fusion. And joined with us today are the vice president of production from Fuzzy Doors, which is Rachel Hargreaves Heald, and the producer of many things. The End Is Nigh, some of you may be watching on Peacock, but also a writer, producer for Cosmos and Star Trek, Brannon Braga. So join me in giving them a big applause and welcoming them to Madison. So it's not every day that you get individuals who are from Hollywood and who write movies and produce TV shows to come to Madison and talk about what they do and their careers and why they're passionate about science and science fiction. And so this is a special treat for you guys. And what we want to do is just kind of give both Rachel and Brannon an opportunity to kind of tell us about their experience on how they got to where they are and why they're passionate about what they're doing. And then we're going to ask a ton of questions, right? Yeah. Like you guys have questions lined up. All right, good. All right, so with that, Rachel.
Sure. Hi, thank you all for coming. So I'll start by my path to Hollywood, which was a little circuitous. So I moved out to Hollywood after college and worked on the set of an alien invasion show that got canceled in the first season because they loved the procedural elements of it and they hated the alien elements of it. After we got canceled, I went back to the production company that was doing it. It was producing the Harry Potter movies during that time. And I did not like LA very much. My whole family was on the East Coast. And so I moved back to Boston and had like a totally different life for 6 years. I worked at a production company for PBS. I went back to school and got my master's in education. And I worked for a mountaineer filmmaker who directed the Everest IMAX movie. He's climbed Mount Everest 5 times. And he had just started a nonprofit that used comparative images in billion pixel interactive panoramas to look at the impact of climate change on Himalayan glaciers. And we were doing exhibits. We were bringing kind of content back from his expeditions to Mount Everest for kids to use in the classroom. And it felt like I was doing something that was meaningful. And it was only when funding dried up that I started thinking about what I wanted to do next and shocked everyone, including myself, by moving back out to LA with the intent of finding a company that wanted to make entertaining shows, but shows that had something to say. And I was lucky enough to find Fuzzy Door, which does everything from Family Guy to American Dad to The Orville to The End Is Nigh and Cosmos. And that's kind of how I got reconnected with Brannon.
Do you guys even watch TV these days? You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it all TikTok now? Yeah. Is it? And okay, cool. Well, I've been making TV for a long time. I started by making a show called Star Trek, which some of you probably have seen. I did.
See, they know you.
I did some older ones. I did Star Trek: The Next Generation. I did Star Trek Voyager and some of the movies. And do you guys know who Bill Nye, the science guy, is? Yeah. You love Bill Nye? Okay. So right now we're making a show called The End Is Nigh, which is on a streamer called Peacock, and it's all about the end of the world and how science can save us. And it's hosted by Bill Nye. And I'm going to try to get Bill Nye. I can't promise anything. I'm going to try to get him on FaceTime to say hi to you guys if I can. We'll see if this works. Now, so we've been working with Bill on this show. Keep talking while I try to keep. But you guys like Bill Nye, right? You're all familiar. Give him a warm reception.
Very cool.
Yeah, and Bill is amazing and everything that you hope he would be. When we were on set together, he would be talking to people all the time and he was always telling them about science. Like one day, he wears bow ties all the time. And one day I went into his dressing room to talk about what bow tie he was going to wear during a scene. And he just told me about tensegrity, which I didn't know existed, but does. I got a lecture about it. And that's just him. Every time you talk to him, he's telling you about something else, about science and why it is so important.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if you guys have seen the show or not, but in every episode is kind of, it's a disaster movie. And then at the end, we see how science can save us, and we kill him in every episode. Yeah. Brandon got very inventive in the ways that Bill died in each episode. He gets electrocuted, he gets fried by a volcano. So it kind of runs the gamut, and it's fun to see how he dies. It was fun for us, at least.
Well, we'll see. We'll wait and see. He's at the auto shop getting his car fixed right now.
How
So
many
we'll see.
here have seen The End Is Nigh?
I don't think
I've seen any of the episodes.
you have. Okay. And how many of you've watched Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
That's okay. So Bill,
Resounding turnout.
Yep.
yeah, that's cool. He'll be happy to see that. That's really cool. Yeah, so we live in Hollywood and we make TV. Anybody here dream of making movies or TV, going to Hollywood? Anyone have, or do you all just want to be astronauts and scientists? Undecided. Undecided.
They're allowed to be that undecided at this age. Well, how about we ask some questions?
Sure.
You guys up for questions?
Yeah,
All right. Well,
absolutely.
who's got a question? One right here.
I thought you guys started out, but like when you were young, think of how'd you get into doing it?
How
So
did we
when you
get
were
into
young, how
doing
did you get into it?
making movies and TV? I loved going to the movies, and I loved watching movies, and I wanted to be an actor because I thought the actors all made up the lines. I thought they made the movies. But then I found out what a writer did, and I found out what a director did, and that there were behind the scenes people. And I realized that that's what I wanted to do. And so I had to figure out, how do people get that job? And I learned there were film schools that you could go to, colleges and stuff. And that's what I did. Just a love of movies, really.
You want to ask? How did you meet Bill Nye is the question.
Brandon answer.
Well, I met Bill Nye. I made a TV show. We made a TV show called Cosmos, starring the host is a guy named Neil deGrasse Tyson. And Neil introduced me to Bill. And they're kind of like two science communicator dudes. So that's how I met Bill. And I was friends with Bill for a few years. And we always wanted to work together, but we just couldn't really find anything to do until this show. We actually worked out at the same gym, believe it or not. I know it doesn't look like we work out, but.
Ooh, let's go back here in the middle. Ooh, what Star Trek shows have you worked on?
Next Generation, Voyager, Enterprise. Okay, now wait, hold on.
Quite a few.
Now I've got Bill here. How do I get him up there? Hey, Bill, hold on.
Oh. So what do we have there?
So, Bill, can you hear us? Can you hear us? How can we hear him?
Turn up the volume
I
on
got the
your phone,
volume.
sounds like.
It's up. On my phone, it's up. Oh. Hold on. I don't think we're going to be able to hear him. So, Bill. They're saying.
Totally in the valley. Nickelodeon Studios right behind me. Want to know why they call it the valley? These mountains, they're like real deal mountains. We're on this side of them. The other side of that mountain, of those mountains, is Hollywood. They're close. Brandon and I work together quite often. So it's good.
All right. I don't know if you could hear any of that. They love you,
They
Bill.
love you, Bill.
Bill Nye. Sure enough. Bill. What, man? Brennan,
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes.
Brennan, call me back from laptop FaceTime.
Yeah. I don't have my laptop here, Bill.
So how are you doing this with your phone? And how are you going to put it on the screen?
Well, there's a tech guy here who helped me put it on the screen.
So it's on screen or it's not on the,
It's on the screen. The kids
Oh.
can see you and they're yelling how much they love you, believe it or not.
okay, well, we're living at a transitional time. Can we hear us?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We can hear you.
So I'm here at a Chevrolet dealer getting an electric car maintained. And all rotate the tires and fill the washer fluid. That's it. I was growing up, had to get the oil changed, spark plugs changed, they had air filter, oil filter, all that stuff went in land. It was not the good old days. You all are living at this transition. So I need you all to do three things. Provide clean water, renewable electric, and access to everybody in the world. If you can do that, make the world fantastic for everybody. But get that done. Get her done.
Get her done.
You got your bill now?
Fourth point. Science.
Science,
You-
science rules. All right, Bill, thank you.
Science rules. Well, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could hear him.
You want to? You want to
What?
take more questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. So y'all, how was that? How cool was that? Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of technical difficulties. That's on us. But you got to see Bill Nye without a bow tie. How many can say that?
Yeah.
Not many. Very cool appearance. Thank you for making that happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for making
yeah,
that happen. So he charged you all with sort of helping to save our future. What do you got to say about that? Are you excited? Are you eager? Everybody ready to become an engineer? No? What about a rocket scientist? No? A microbiologist? Maybe. All right. Well, let's take some more questions. I know there were more hands. We got another question here. Oh, what kind of shows or movies are you currently working on?
Well, there's a really cool show on Disney Plus called The Orville. And if you like Star Trek, it's kind of like a Star Trek show. It stars Seth MacFarlane. He does Family Guy. You guys watch Family Guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you allowed to watch Family Guy? Okay. So it's a spaceship show. It's pretty cool. There are 3 seasons on Disney Plus right now, and we're about to start work on a new season of that. And if you haven't seen that show, it's pretty funny and it's pretty cool.
Very nice.
This might be a little old. Has any of you seen Ted, the movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're doing a TV show. Yeah. So we're finishing that up now, and it's going to be following Ted and John when they're in high school. So it kind of is looking at their friendship and all their firsts in high school, and so that will come out next year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. What's your question? Oh, how do you make fake things in movies look real?
Well, a lot of things, and how do you make fake things in movies look real? Well, that's a great question. That's really our main job. And a lot of the things are real. But sometimes you need to use, very often, say, visual effects. You know what visual effects are. Those are like computer special effects. Can sometimes make it look like a dinosaur is running through here. If you know, and stuff like that. We can really make anything look real these days using computer technology. It's really we imagine stuff, and it's our job to put it on the screen. Now, a lot of people make movies, like hundreds, sometimes thousands of people will work on a movie or a TV show, and everybody has a different job. There are makeup people, there are people who just do clothes, There are people who do nothing but make explosions. And all these crafts people come together to make the move, to make things look real. It's a lot of work, but it's very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, go ahead. Ooh, where do your ideas come from? How do you get these ideas for movies and shows?
Reading,
Yeah.
watching TV. And then the honest answer is I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. They just kind of pop into your head sometimes. But I have a feeling it's because I do a lot of reading and stuff I learned in school actually paid off eventually.
Love hearing that
Not-
response. What does a writer like to read?
Well, I like to read science fiction and horror. I love horror. I don't know if you guys, it's Halloween time. I don't know if you like horror movies, but I kind of like genre stuff, fantasy and stuff like that. I like stuff
Very
that's
cool.
kind of wild.
And sometimes it comes from like a book or an article or an idea or just meeting someone whose life is really interesting. So ideas really come from everywhere.
You're full of questions.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
If
thank you.
guys
Thank
went
you.
to
Thank you.
college, what did you go for and how long
Well,
was that?
I'll start because I went to film school at a school called UC Santa Cruz. I didn't finish. I'm just going to be completely honest. I was one math class short because I'm terrible at math. Terrible. But I'm really good at English and writing and stuff like that. So I still need to go back and finish. I'm a terrible role model. I should be up here. But there was a special school that had a film program where you could learn how to make movies, and that's where I went. But she went to Princeton.
I did go to Princeton, but I studied history. And when I started Princeton, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And then I took the easiest pre-med course and I was like, I should not be a doctor. I will not do right by my patients. And I'd always loved TV and movies, but I kind of, for whatever reason, I felt like that wasn't something that I could do. So once being a doctor was off the table, that's when I started thinking about, okay, maybe I really should pursue this. But yeah, I studied history. There wasn't an option for film studies at Princeton. So it doesn't matter so much. People take all sorts of routes. You can study film like Brandon did. You can study history like I did, and you're still going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice. You had a question in the hat? Yeah. Yeah. What is it?
No bacon.
No bacon
So
in all the
choose
games.
bacon for the
Or-
rest of our lives and no video games, or video games or no bacon. Bacon, man.
Yeah, I'm going bacon,
Bacon,
too.
Well, they're
bacon.
both
Yeah.
going bacon.
That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A trick question.
Yeah.
Trick question.
It's a trick question.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a unique question for you guys. So, of all the experiences that you guys have had at Hollywood and also in the years of writing and producing, what science fiction thing are you most inspired by that has kind of come to life now in our everyday use? But what's scary too that you've seen?
Well, does anyone here, you guys asked me what Star Trek shows I worked on. Which ones do you watch? Which do you guys who watch Star Trek have a favorite one? Next Gen?
Jen?
Okay. You love Voyager.
What?
I worked on that
Yeah.
one. Yep. Okay. So for those who have watched Next Gen or Voyager, you may remember that the characters would sometimes carry around what looked like iPads. And they'd do this and they'd say, oh, Captain, here's the report. Well, when we did that, this was in the 90s, those were just pieces of plastic with stickers on them. They didn't actually do anything because iPads didn't exist. And so I don't know if it had any connection to what Apple did with iPads, but you look at the show, you're like, oh, those are iPads. They're using iPads. But we just kind of made it up. like it would exist one day. So that came true.
Mm.
Yeah, I think technology is inspired by science fiction because you see what's possible, even though it's not real yet. And then sometimes you try to backtrack. I mean, I'm not doing this, but I think once you see what's possible, you try to figure it out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Writers have a lot of power that way.
Yeah.
I have
Or
no idea.
influence.
I kind of wish, I'd get some profits from those iPads. I mean,
You had a question.
What inspired you? How has it changed?
Ooh, who has inspired you most, and how has that changed?
My biggest inspiration may be a show that's too old for you guys to remember. It was called The Twilight Zone. And it's an old black and white show that had all sorts of really strange stories. And every episode was different. That was my biggest inspiration. And then the show the modern show I like the best, maybe something you guys haven't seen, is Black Mirror.
Mm.
And Black Mirror is on Netflix, and that's kind of a new, strange story, technology gone wrong kind of show. So I tend to like those kinds of things.
I'm not sure I have a specific inspiration. I think I was drawn to kind of the power of media to transport you, to introduce you to new types of people or new experiences or new ways of thinking. And that's really what got me into it, to try to tell stories that help people or, can open minds, which is especially important when you're doing science content, because there's so much skepticism about it right now. So I don't have one inspiration, but that kind of.
But do you guys watch reality TV at all? No reality TV? Just curious. Well, what are you guys watching?
Yeah,
What's
what do
your
you
favorite
watch?
show?
Hulu.
Okay, now you're
Shows? What
what
shows
shows?
on
what
the
sh-
streaming
so what
services?
shows?
Garfield, Barbie.
Yeah.
Okay, Barbie the movie, right? Cool.
What else?
More questions?
Yeah. The Harvest Fall? Valley of Violence.
Violence. I
Oh,
don't think I've heard of that
I've not
one.
heard of
No.
that one either. What are you watching? National
Oh, good for you.
Geographic. Oh,
I like National
awesome.
Geographic.
Do you have a
Right
favorite
on.
show on Nat Geo?
Watching what's up biology charts.
Ooh, marine biology.
like
and
Shark
sharks.
Week?
Shark Week. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we love
Gotta
Shark
love
Week.
Shark Week. You have a question? Let's hear it.
You guys write, like, do you guys ever like write books?
Did you write any books
No,
or anything?
books are that seems like a lot of work.
Ooh,
I write scripts. I've written a couple hundred scripts, but books seem really challenging. Now, never wrote a book.
Yeah, and I'm not a writer, so I work with writers and give notes on drafts and outlines and stuff. So I kind of help the creative vision, but I'm not a writer myself.
Yeah, book is a different thing.
way in the back. How do you make a fictional story scary?
That's a
it's
really great question, and I love horror movies, and I've made a horror movie, and I've done horror stories, and the best answer to that would be, what scares you? Just think about what would scare you. It's probably going to be something that would scare other people.
Mhm.
That's how I approach it.
Yeah. And then it's also how you shoot it, it's the music, so a lot of steps go into it to make it as suspenseful as possible. But yeah, it starts with a scary idea.
Oh, in the book, I think the same thing. I mean, do you know who Stephen King is? He's probably the most famous horror writer of all time. I mean, that's what he would say. He writes what scares him. What he thinks about at night when he's trying.
Who is most fun to work with? Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye?
Oh,
Ooh,
man.
that's a hard one. Tyson or Bill
Oh.
Nye?
Well, they both can be pains.
Ross Tyson.
They both can be difficult. They're both kind of high energy. But who's more fun to work with? Bill Nye.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bill too.
Bill's
Yeah.
he's exactly like you see him on the show.
Yeah.
That's how he is in real life. And he's really a cool guy. I really like Bill.
Very nice.
Your favorite stop being.
My favorite thing about being a producer is, yeah, Bill Nye. You know, being able to come up with an idea and then in my head and then seeing it all the way through and come to life and be seen by millions of people is the coolest thing. You know, as in school, you know, I'd write a paper and it'd be just for the English teacher. It's kind of the same thing, except now it's millions of English teachers seeing the work. And that's kind of cool to see your stuff come to life like that,
Yeah.
you know?
And you get to be involved in every step of the process. So whether it's casting or wardrobe or set deck or locations, you get to just kind of like weave yourself creatively into the fabric of the show, which then you kind of become emotionally tethered to it and you care about whether people watch or not, whether they like it or not.
Now, the bummer is if you make something and no one watches it.
Yeah.
And that does happen sometimes.
That definitely happens on streaming services today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite show you've worked on?
My favorite show I worked on, you know, I've done a lot of shows over the years. I have to say probably Star Trek Voyager. That's for you.
There you go. Yeah.
Why did you bring that character? What made that?
So there was a character named Seven of Nine who came on to Star Trek Voyager. She was a half human, half Borg character. I created that character because I felt the show needed something new to give it some energy and to a character that would kind of change all the other character dynamics and mix things up and would be an interesting character for the captain, kind of almost like a surrogate daughter or, you know, wild child that raised by wolves, you know? And I think it kind of, do you think it worked? Cool.
Yeah.
One more question here. Favorite Family Guy episode?
Look,
Ooh. How many episodes are there?
I mean, I went to like the party for like the 200th episode. I think it was more recent. I mean, those shows have been on for such a long time that transparently we are not touching them. You know, it's not like I'm reading scripts and giving notes. It's like having children, you're not supposed to have a favorite one, but I am. What's your favorite one?
I like Stewie kills Lois, Lois kills Stewie.
Yep. Yeah.
I like the Star Wars episode. I like the Star Wars episode.
Yeah, you would, huh?
Well, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you wish they kind of did that with
He
Star
didn't like
Trek?
that.
What? Do you wish they would have done that with Star Trek?
Yeah, that would have been cool. Maybe they
Yeah.
still will. You know?
We'll suggest it to the writer's room.
Yeah.
All right. What's that?
Stewie or Peter? Stewie.
Stewie, yeah, 100% Stewie.
Stewie
Yeah.
is the show. It's
I'm
all
gonna
about Stewie.
ask one last question, kind of on that same tone there. I don't want to start a debate, but Kirk or Picard?
Ew.
Kirk or Picard? Picard, man. Captain Picard. All the way. I don't want to be on a ship with Captain Kirk. He's crazy.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This has been wonderful to have you guys out to have you know, ask questions to, you know, both Brandon and Rachel. That it really is, you know, good to see that you're interested in this type of space where science fiction and science writing meets and hits the road. and
I have
production.
one last
Go.
question.
Oh yeah.
So you
Brandon.
guys, you watch Bill Nye the Science Guy. Where are you watching Bill Nye the Science Guy? Like, where do you see it?
6th grade.
But
Are you guys watching on like YouTube?
when you watch it at home, where are you watching it?
YouTube.
YouTube? It's YouTube?
Sounds
And
right.
do your teachers ever show you Bill Nye? Okay.
Ah,
All right, cool.
where are the teachers at?
Very cool.
All right.
All right,
Well,
thanks,
thank you
guys.
guys.
Guys,
Enjoy the rest of the expo. Go
Yeah.
get your hands wet, dirty.